Hello, welcome to another episode of Cooking with the Clergy. Today we're going to be making black and white squares, a fudge type of confection. And while it's setting, we'll explore what black and white squares have to do with our Bible studies. For this, we're going to be needing a box of semi-sweet chocolate, a bag of white chocolate chips, some vanilla, and a can of condensed milk. I have an 8-inch square pan which I've lined with tin foil so that it'll be easy to take the treats out when they are set. So into my glass bowl here, microwave safe bowl, because everything's going to be done in the microwave here, we're going to put both blocks of chocolate that come in that box. So we're just going to break things up so that they melt a little easier. And the second package. Now, if we microwave this on high for about 1.5 to 2 minutes until it's completely melted. We'll stop it a couple of times just to check and so that the chocolate doesn't burn. But before we do that, I almost forgot. We're going to add 1 cup of the condensed milk. That's not the whole can. The rest of it is going to be used in the next step. Now, let's microwave. So it's been in the microwave now for about 1 minute and 45 seconds, I believe. And you can see that the chocolate is all becoming incorporated in with the condensed milk. It's all melted and smooth, and just mix it a bit to make it nice and smooth. And then we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. I usually just eyeball this myself, and my motto is there's no such thing as too much vanilla anyway. Don't know if that's true or not, but it's never failed me yet. So we're just going to mix all of that together so it's nice and smooth, chocolatey. And we're going to pour it into our foil-lined pan. Looks delicious already. Spread that evenly in the pan out to the corners. Like so. There it is. We're going to put that in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes. Once the chocolate layer has been in the fridge for about 30 minutes and is set, we're going to do the similar thing with the white chocolate. Use the entire bag of white chocolate chips. and the remaining condensed milk. Make sure we get every last little drop of this. So good. Flies. Again, we're going to microwave this for about a minute, and then if it's not quite melted completely, we do a little bit at a time, maybe 15 seconds at a time, just until the white chocolate is nice and smooth, just like the dark chocolate was. Famous theologian Karl Barth professed that we should have our Bible in one hand and a newspaper in the other. We're encouraged to read both, but to interpret the news through the lens of Scripture. The past, especially the biblical past, is not just that. It's meant to influence how we live and move and have our being even now. Some people think of the Bible stories as just a story from history that has no relevance now. But the Bible is what we call a living document. The truths of the past are still true, and we need to see our lives today as a continuation of that. For example, here we have the parable of the prodigal son. We're reading from Luke 15, verses 11 to 32. Then Jesus said, "There was a man who had 2 sons. The younger of them said to his father, 'Father, give me the share of the property that will belong to me.' So he divided his property between them. A few days later, the younger son gathered all he had and traveled to a distant country, and there he squandered his property in dissolute living. When he had spent everything, a severe famine took place throughout that country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to one of the citizens of that country, who sent him to his fields to feed the pigs. He would gladly have filled himself with the pods that the pigs were eating, and no one gave him anything. But when he came to himself, he said, 'How many of my father's hired hands have bread enough and to spare, but here I am dying of hunger. I will get up and go to my father, and I will say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Treat me like one of your hired hands.' So he set off and went to his father. But while he was still far off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion. He ran and put his arms around him and kissed him. Then the son said to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son.' But the father said to his slaves, 'Quickly, bring out a robe, the best one, and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. And get the fatted calf and kill it, and let us eat and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found.' And they began to celebrate. Now his elder son was in the field, and when he came and approached the house, he heard music and dancing. He called one of the slaves and asked what was going on. He replied, 'Your brother has come, and your father has killed the fatted calf, because he has got him back safe and sound.' Then he became angry and refused to go in. His father came out and began to plead with him. But he answered his father, 'Listen, for all these years I have been working like a slave for you, and I have never disobeyed your command. Yet you have never given me even a young goat so that I might celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours came back, who has devoured your property with prostitutes, you killed the fatted calf for him.' Then the father said to him, 'Son, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours. But we had to celebrate and rejoice, because this brother of yours was dead and has come to life. He was lost and has been found.'" The story of the prodigal son that we just read, the intention of it here is to teach the virtues of redemption and forgiveness, and we learn something from looking at the perspectives of all 3 characters. The prodigal son made some poor decisions. He suffered for his mistakes and seeks forgiveness from his father. His brother is resentful and jealous of the attention the other is getting, where he was the good son and felt unappreciated and left out. The father takes on two roles here for his sons. He welcomes back the lost son and gives him love and hope. He reminds the other son that he always has whatever he needed and only had to ask, and he could have been given more. Both sons were loved and cared for by the father in the way that they needed. At the end of the parable, we don't know whether or not the brother came in and joined the festivities, but I hope he did. Where can we see this story play out in our own lives? Have you ever felt left out or jealous of the attention someone else is getting? Do you wish you could have some of that? Have you ever made a choice that you regret and done something or said something that you wish you could take back because it hurt someone? Have you been brave enough to seek forgiveness? Have you been in a position where you could offer forgiveness and welcome someone? When we look at Bible stories and try to apply the same lessons in our own lives, we get not just a history lesson, not just an observation of the present, but we get the best of both worlds, and living out our lives using the lessons of biblical teaching make the sum even more than the two combined. Just like our black and white squares, where the two together make the best treat. So our squares are set. I'm just going to take the tin foil out of the pan and lift it right up, out. So peel back the foil on the sides. Now I'm going to cut one just to show you what they look like when they're all done. That fly is determined he's going to get something to eat here. Here we have the two layers, the white chocolate, the dark chocolate, both delicious, but together, perfection. Thanks for joining. Hope to see you again next time. Until then, God bless.